Hey, Lone Wolf. I'm just trying to scale this up a little bit here. I guess that's good enough. Hey, Sasquatch. So we got Lone Wolf, Sasquatch, Gary Picard. Now I wonder how many of the younger people out there even remember these cars much. Most of them are into the new stuff, but man, the new muscle cars, they are outrageously huge horsepowers on them. And to get to the horsepowers back then, what you can buy off the car lot right now was just outrageous. And they weren't very reliable for daily cruisers either. When you got 6, 7, 800 horsepower. A 67 GTO, yeah, a friend of mine had a GTO, but it was the Judge. So it was a little bit later than that. And it was cool, and he had the 400 in it, if I remember right. But another friend had I think it was a 67, but I'm not 100% sure if it was a 67 or not. But it was the cool one, the long one with the headlights, like this one, like this here. Let's see what else we got in here. 69 Roadrunner. The 69 Roadrunner. My sister's boyfriend at whatever time it was, I was like 16, 17. He had one, and I looked up to him kind of like an older brother, and I always loved that car. And that he saved my ass with that car one night. Cops were after me. I was on foot, and he came in and jumped in, and they were after me. But it was really, there was a bunch of people. We had a little uh, subdivision, and they had this huge oak tree, and the subdivision was called Lone Oak. And this huge oak tree there, it was massive, and they just cleaned out underneath it and put benches in there and made it like a little park. We were all sitting around there, and the kids on the other side were smoking dope, and we had a couple beers, which was a little frowned on at that time, but it's not too bad. But the other guys were smoking marijuana. Oh God, was that taboo back then in the early '70s or mid '70s? That was we were gonna do some crazy things if you smoked dope. And I might miss some of y'all, but let's see what else is in here. 1970 Oldsmobile Cutlass 350 Rocket. Yeah, those were cool. Um, I didn't know anybody personally. Friend had one, but there was one that used to cruise around with us in the group and race from time to time. But of course, I was running around in the racing crowd. I loved hot rods, still do. I'm gonna scroll back a little bit, see what else, see if I missed something. I actually had a Dodge Dart with a 6-banger in it that we fixed up just for the hell of it, and it was pretty fast. But it wasn't anywhere near as fast as my 340 Dart or my 440 Cornet. And I was a Mopar guy, but I also like Chevy. And there's some cool Fords out there, but I was never into the Fords. So scroll back down here. Steve McGraw. I'll have to. I think I do. I think I do. Steve, I'll double check. Chevelle. Oh, yeah, the like the '70 Chevelle SS. Let me close this one down. But the earlier Chevelles were cool too. This one here was one of my favorite years. The 440 GTX was one in this area. And was a big hot rod area around here, and muscle cars all over the place. So almost every muscle car there was, somebody had one. I didn't necessarily know everybody, but I knew a lot of them. I think one of the fastest cars we had was, I think it was a 70 Mustang, and they had a machine shop and mechanic shop and all that, so they kind of had it inside track to making some pretty good hot rod. The older than this one, I don't remember what year it was. I'm not a big specialist on all the different cars or the Corvettes, because the Corvettes were never really my thing. I liked some of the earlier ones, but they weren't that big on my list. Man, that 454 blown. Yes, Sarah, that's my newest email address. That one's the safest one. I don't really like Gmail for communicating with you guys. That one's very highly protected and is from out of the country, so it makes it a little bit harder for local PDs to screw with you. And I don't really know if it's even necessary, but I kind of like the idea of having that electric protection. Well, that Mustang I was talking about, I think it was a 70, because it looked like this. But it didn't have those stickers. 68 Firebird. Those were cool, and there was quite a few of those around here. But I actually built the Chevy. I had the first Pro Street truck around, and I don't know of any of them that were in Texas at the time. But I actually built that truck to mess with the Mustangs and the Trans Ams, and not so much the Firebird, because there really wasn't that many of them. And it seems to me, back then, the guys with the Firebirds were pretty cool, but the ones with the Trans Am, I don't know, just so many of them I knew were like, they just bolted on all kinds of stuff and thought they had something fast. When you just go to the store and start bolting on things, you don't know what you're going to end up. And most of them weren't that fast. Not any of them could even come close to that truck. But I planned that truck from the back forward, front to back. We planned everything to work right. We planned it to be exactly what I wanted. 454, nitrous. We didn't have as much good technology back then, so it was a little bit hard to plant those tires. We tubbed it, and we put some huge tires on Mickey Thompson's. And it's still, without warming those tires up, you could just smoke the shit out of them through the quarter mile. Only place it really ever planted good was at the track. So I took the nitrous off because it just blew the tires off anyway. And plus, that truck scared the shit out of me when it hit the nitrous. Let's see, Lone Wolf. I'll have to go back. I watched so many videos, I don't remember them all. But Lone Wolf, let me find something to write with, because I'll forget it if I don't write it down. And I'll go back and check it out. But, I don't know the best way to say this, but mostly because I'm kind of limited with time, and tonight I just wanted to take a break. I've been looking at so many videos and taking care of some other stuff that I just wanted to take a break and goof off tonight and kind of visit with you guys. But, God, I don't know how to say this. I'm being more particular about the videos I do, and I'm not doing as many. Partially because YouTube is really screwing with me, and they cut my traffic down to about a quarter of what it used to be. And just because I'm sharing those videos, so now I have to go in and I have to talk about the videos. And I have to do like 60% talk and 40% video to make them happy. And I'm not even sure if that's going to make them happy. But until I can get back out there and do some of my own stuff, all I can do is try to put up videos that are helpful, try to highlight some of y'all guys, but I have to talk. I'm thinking about trying to get some of you guys on to visit with me every once in a while, talk about some things, but I haven't figured out a way. I don't want to do it like I used to, a year or so ago, where I just put the number out and let y'all call in. Because there's too many a-holes out there right now that will just come in and just cause trouble. And when I put the number out there, any of them come in, and I don't know if they're jerks until they get in there. And truthfully, I don't want to mess with them. So I was kind of thinking to put a group of people together that I trust, and then they have people that they know, that they trust, and they can, if that group of people could, when I get on, and I share the number with them on the side, they could send it to some of y'all who they trust. But I don't know. I just really haven't thought it through 100% yet. Let me see. Okay, that was Lone Wolf. You wanted me to check out your video and maybe sure. Just a minute. Let me finish writing this down. And I think I've seen the video. It kind of rings a bell, but like I said, I have watched so many of them lately. I just kind of keep them all straight. Yeah, CCW. They're doing that to a lot of people. And I like the money coming off there because I can help you guys. And the ones that I've helped, some of y'all know that I helped, some of y'all don't, but that's where most of the money went. But I haven't been able to do any of it because there's just no money there. I mean, right now it just barely pays for the stuff that I do to support, it pays for the services like anyway, what I pay for doesn't make a difference. That's just neither here nor there, but 66 RX Falcon Fury. I don't remember that car. I mean, it sounds familiar, but I don't remember that car. I mean, the Falcons I remember, but the Falcon Fury I don't. Was the Falcon Fury a big car or a little car? Because the Falcons I remember were small. I remember the Gremlins. Man, the Gremlins, they were so freaking ugly. But they put like a one out, and it was like a limited. There wasn't a whole bunch of them. I think they had like a 390 in them. God. Luckily, I never ran up across one of those. Because they probably would have blown my little 340 Dart out of the water. 57 Chevy truck. Cool trucks. I want to call in and talk about at the end of 1A. I don't agree with it. It's the end of 1A. But I do agree with some of the things you've said that I've noticed you've said. Maybe we can talk about that sometime. You got my number. Maybe tomorrow or the next day, whatever works out for you. We get in touch with each other. We talk a little bit and kind of discuss it because it has kind of been on the back of my mind, what you've been saying. And like I said, some of what you're saying I agree with, and some of it I don't. But I'll tell you right now, I don't think 1A is dead, but it is suffering some pains right now. And I don't want to get into a conversation about that stuff because that stuff kind of goes into some negative stuff, and that's not what I want to do tonight. Yeah, not tonight, but later. The next day or two, just give me a holler. If you call and I don't answer, just text me, and I'll get back at you. Because I never know when I'm going to be asleep. Sometimes I sleep during the day, sometimes I sleep during the night, sometimes it's a mixture of both because my sleep schedule is so screwy. Gremlin, if you pour the right water in, they grow into monsters. Detain roadside. Safety check. Oh, that's right, that's right. The one that was from tonight. You did do a pretty good job, but I tell you, I'm surprised. I am surprised that those guys let you go. And maybe it's the way the laws are. Some states are not backed up by law to the point where the cops can get away with a lot of stuff. And I don't know that if that's what's going on with what you were dealing with. But some of these states, they are so tough on it. It's like, you're screwed. If you try to do what you did last night in some of these places, they will pull you out of the car and beat the shit out of you just to teach you a lesson, and they'll throw you in jail. And they may beat the shit out of you and said you beat the shit out of them or tried to beat the shit out of them. Some of them get downright nasty about it. But then we see that all over the place. They don't get their butts kissed, and they will totally screw you up. Bugatti. I'm not big into the supercars, but I can't say that there's not some of them I don't like. There's some of them are pretty damn cool, and the Bugatti is one of them. Maybe I should have said what's your favorite 70s muscle car, but I'm not going to put a limit on it. Whatever it is you like from whatever year. Let's see. All right, CCW. See you later. Take it easy out there. Sarah T. Oh, if you not sub the Lone Wolf, yeah, there's the link in there for Lone Wolf. Let me scroll back. Let's see if I missed anything. Yeah, tell you the truth, I only know about the Gremlins. I've never seen one in person. I've seen pictures of them, I've seen videos of them, but I've never seen one in person that I know of, and I never ran across one. I don't know how fast they were, and I don't know what options on the 390 or whatever motor it was. Hell, for all I know, it was a 360. I don't remember, but I was thinking 390. But it just seems like it would have been a pretty fast car. But then there's some other cars that back in the day where that the package that was on them, you would think they're going to be pretty fast, but they weren't. Let's see. 0 to 40. So 0 to 40. What it was that? 0 to 250 back to 0 to 40, 42 seconds. 1,500 horsepower. Yeah. Sorry, it's a little late, a little tired, but I couldn't sleep, so I wanted to do something here. Can't read right tonight. Some say I can't read right anytime. Sasquatch, she finally made it to 1,000. Cool. I'll get some videos, like I need to do. I need to get out and get some videos, but hopefully soon. 1995 Bird. When I was a senior in high school, I had the 600. Yeah. I had one of the darts with the six banger in it, and they had some stuff out for hot rodding, and it hot rodded pretty good. And it was hard to blow up that little six banger, but I did it. I put a 4-barrel on it. You know, the AMX was here, and I don't remember what motor it had in it, but it couldn't beat me. Or what gears we changed out, but we didn't make a big change. search 0400 on YouTube. I'll make a note of that for later. Let's see, I live at a lake where lots of big boats come, lots of great cars also on trailer, lots of two boats. Sounds like a pretty cool area. We got a drag strip not too far from me. In fact, I can hear it from my house when they're running if I sit outside. And I don't get up there and it is nearly as often as I would like, but I would rather watch the highlights now on just about any sport than so sit and watch it. Yeah, I never had a red car. I always stayed away from it because it seemed like it was true. If it was red, they were going to stop you and give you a ticket and hassle you. It didn't even matter if it wasn't fast. And we took the hood off of mine, the scoops, and replaced it with a different hood. And it pretty much just looked like a regular daily driver. And until I went out to race it, we put different tires on it, and they were usually in the trunk. So the cops didn't mess with that much in an area where they didn't know me. But of course, I hung around in this area near close where I live most of the time. Here's one of my favorite cars of all time. Right there. The Hemi Challengers, the Hemi Cudas. 225, slant 6, yep. There was another one, let's see, yeah, you got them down off, you got them all the way through here. 170, 196 to 225. And I think there was one a little bit bigger, but it was a turd. It was a turd of an engine. But I don't remember 100%. I know the 225 was pretty good motor, and I don't know much about the 198 or the 170, how good they were, but I remember them being out there. And it seems like maybe the 170 and the 198 might have been a little bit earlier started and then grew into the 225, but again, I don't remember. A lot of these things I'm so far away from now, I don't remember all the different details of all the different motors. See, I was stupid when I took it to the river and bottomed out. Didn't realize I put a hole in the oil pan. Oh shit, yeah. That sucked. One thing, if you rebuild a motor, the basic stuff, pretty cool. But if you had to take the machine shop and get a bunch of work to it, that was, even back then, it was expensive as hell. 170 was the original, okay. I was watching one of the YouTube channels the other day. The guy's, I don't remember his channel name, but he was really into the Mopars and then especially the older ones and getting them and fixing them up. Some of them he raced, some of them he just fixed up. He looked like he was pretty knowledgeable about what he was doing. And I don't go to it anymore, but I'm a member of the Mopar Club here, but I don't go to their meetings hardly anymore. But run into a few old friends there, so I decided to join up and go visit them every once in a while. Let's see, did I miss anything here interesting? Let's see, Sarah T. Hi, Sasquatch. Cool, you got out with Pink. I didn't know he got out there with her. Must have missed something. Cool. Cool, Sasquatch. Good to see you out there. Let's see, what else we got here? There's the Roadrunner there. See something. Oh, this one. A friend of mine had one, split bumper, and had a 427 in it until he blew that one up. Then he went to a 350 and built 350 for it. It was pretty fast, but the 350 version, he couldn't even beat my Dart. The first Syracuse, the first hand-me-down car was a 1970 Newport 383. Although not fast, it off in a quarter mile, it could get up there and move. And it got you down the road in a little bit of luxury if it was in decent shape. Yeah, I didn't forget about the Trans Ams, but I was never real big on them. But I can't say they were ugly or anything. I was just never real big on them. I think that was partly because of they drove. I didn't like it. Oh, here was a cool one. Back to the Mopars. The Super Bees. I always thought that was, back in the day, I didn't really like it, but now when I look back, I kind of like the, and of course this isn't exactly a stock one, but, they had that weird looking front end. 69 GTO, 72 Chevelle, both cool as hell. Circa 1987. Oh yeah, sir. Down the road, half mile more, they flew. But basically, I was into the quarter mile, which now a lot of especially the street racers, have gone to eighth mile because the cars are gotten so fast they don't want to do that kind of speed on a quarter mile on a street road, regular street. Yeah, the 62 413 with. I had seen a couple. I never saw them run. I thought they were ugly, but I heard for what they were in that day, they were pretty good. I don't know much else about them. The other night, David was talking about getting caught doing 130. That truck of mine, when I put the highway gears in it, to go for like here to Dallas or something, I put the highway gears in it. And I was coming back from Dallas one time. And back then, there wasn't as many people, a lot fewer cops. But I did 140 almost all the way. Of course, I had to stop 3 times for gas. I tell you what, I'd stop for gas and I was going 140 for so fast, for so long. I get out for gas, and it seemed like the gas pump would take forever. Even when I knew it was going normal speed, it just felt like it was so slow. And that's about all. I still remember that from back then. That was 4 years ago. And I did not get caught. Almost. Come over. There's one place from between here and there. It's got a long, winding uphill and the downhill curve. And it's very long and winding. But it didn't wind back and forth. It just wound around one way. But I come over the top of that at 140, 130, something like that. And I had the radar dimmer on. And the truck was black. No chrome. I took all the chrome off of it because it was a Silverado package. I took all the chrome. I saw him and I said, I'm doing 140. I bet all he saw was, he didn't even know I was there until I passed him. And his lights came on, they were already small. So I just kept going. And I got a couple more excess roads, exits, and a couple of hills, and I went over the next hill, and I just pulled off on a side road and waited for about 20 minutes. and got back on the road, drove normal for a while. Didn't see a sign of anything, and just picked it back up and came home. Let's see here. And I never went that fast again because it was stupid. Absolutely stupid. $19.70 and a half Trans Am with 454 HO. That was pretty cool. That was one of the coolest of the bunch. Sarah, let's see. Ozark Hill did a Sarah T. I love all racing, but NASCAR just finished Kentucky Speedway. I average 160 miles per hour, inches away from inches away from others. Loved it. I've never run around NASCAR or anything, any of that kind of. I used to like to watch it because we did have a track down here back in the day, but not anymore. I think the closest one here is, I'm not sure if they have one in Houston, but I know they got one up near Dallas, and that's, I think it might be the closest one, but I'm not even sure. I watched the NASCAR racing highlights on YouTube or something, just catch up on the highlights. Roadrunner was sweet. Yeah, Roadrunner was a sweet car. But they also made, God, and I don't remember the names of them, but there was another couple of cars in that basic range, and it was like, I think it was basically a luxury model of like a Roadrunner, and I can't think of the name of it. Old Cutlass 442, yep. The cousin of the guy that had the GTO had a Cutlass 442. It was not much in a quarter mile, but past that it was up out of hell. Yep, 455 V8. And it was cool looking. Holy fuck tard, Batman. Oh, nice. Nice car. What's up, BB? I'm just talking about cars and whatever else comes up that I'm interested in talking about. And if I'm not interested in talking about it, I'm just going to bypass it because I just want to relax and have fun tonight. The GTX, yes. Yeah, GTX Cornet. Well, cool. I had the Cornet, never got the GTX. But there was another one I'm trying to think of. Let me see if I can find it here. That there was one here in the area, and I don't remember if we mentioned it tonight. I think we might have, but I don't remember the name of it. And oh, there it is, right there. AMX. AMC AMX. There was one here, and I always thought it was a cool car, and I never got one, but it was cool. B-body, GTX, Cornet, etc. Let's see. 78 was beautiful. The Coochie Magnet. Yeah. Say back in like in 78, there wasn't much in the way of muscle cars, but they still were making some cool cars. And here, I'm going to say something, and it may piss off some of you Ford guys, but those Fox body Mustangs were ugly as shit. And a friend of mine thinks they're cool looking, but I think they're ugly as shit. The only time in the Mustang era that they made a and since the first Mustang to the most recent, that they made an ugly Mustang. And not saying it was just not the best of the good-looking ones. It was just plain freaking ugly. But they did make a lot of them, and they were light, and they make people like making race cars out of them. And I can see why, but I think as the years go on, we'll start seeing the better looking Mustangs because since there's so many of them, there's going to be much cheaper to get, just as cheap to get those as the old Fox bodies and fix them up. You know, there may be something about the Fox bodies that make him even more special about fixing up. I don't know anything about the suspension or the framing or anything, but I just don't know if it's just the fact that they're cheap and easy to find that made them popular to race and liked. 78. I found one a few years ago and I was going to buy it and restore it, but I decided I just didn't want to put that kind of money into the little Red Express. But I always thought it would be cool to have like my favorite Mopar muscle car, a trailer pulled behind the Red Express. And they were something kind of special at the time. Wasn't a whole bunch of them. You just didn't see them very often unless somebody in your area had one. And they had the stacks on them, and they actually had a pretty powerful motor for the time. Let's see. The old El Caminos, yeah. I'm a fan of the old El Caminos. Some more than others, but most of them were pretty cool. And there were some cars back then that, and I can't give you any names right off the bat, but I thought were just not cool at all. But they turned out to be just, you know, the daily driver mama pop cars, not expensive. But I didn't know they had the other options on them to be, it turned into basically, they turned into muscle cars. And once they put the other options on them, the striping, the fins, the different hood and everything, they turned out to be pretty cool. But I can't think of anyone right now. I just can't think of the name of one of them right now. Let's see what else we got here. Yeah, when Roush came to design Mustangs, yep. I have to agree, Ozark had the. Was it you, Ozark Hillbilly, that I thought was going to go fishing? Let's see, Stray Dog Exposer. Yeah. El Caminos were cool as hell. My dad had one, yeah. My dad was not into cars, but I was. But he did buy a 73 Charger that I ended up with, which was cool. It wasn't the best looking of the Chargers, but with the right stripes and add-ons, they were cool looking. And it only had 318. But I'll tell you what, that 318 made that little car do pretty good for when it was, and what it was, and how big it was. And I think that was the first car we had that had disc brakes. And my dad was impressed with that car. It had disc brakes and it would stop straight, and kind of aging myself. I remember the old Bias tires when the radials were coming in. It was such a big thing. Let's see, what was the Cobra? My brother-in-law smashed it around a telephone pole and lived out. He's lucky. Telephone poles have a tendency to kill people. Yep. The Chevelle was a basic mom and dad car. At least I think that's what he means by M&D. Till you drop the V8 and bucket seats. Yep. And I always really liked. There was a Chevelle right here on the main street of town where I lived, which is a very small town. And it was just one of the coolest cars around. And it was the 454, the SS. And I never got to ride in it. Damn it. Satellite, yeah, the bottom line. The back's like a satellite, and there's You can come up a few grades on those. Let's see, satellite. Is that the other B body you were thinking about? No, no. Yeah, yeah, it was. But I was talking about also uh, there was cars. It might have been like a Ford Falcon, but I'm not sure if that was it. Where it was just a base plain Jane, ugly looking car, but there was. I didn't know about it at the time, and I didn't even know till just a few years ago that there was another options for those that made them pretty cool. Uh, you had a stripe here and a stripe there, and a different hood and whatever, and better motor, and they were, in my looking now, that's pretty cool. I wouldn't back then have probably owned one even if I knew they existed. And I was a big guy, and it was a small car, and I really didn't like sitting in small cars, but I never sat in one, so there might have been, as far as I know, there was as much room in the Falcon as there was in a Dart. I just don't know. I never was in the front seat of a Falcon, so. Seemed like there was another car that I was thinking about, that not just the Falcon, but, maybe I'll think about it one of these days. And there was Superbird. There was one of those that ran around here for years, and what I understand, it's still here. He just doesn't take it out anymore. And I don't think it's the original owner. I think somebody near here bought it and just doesn't take it out, but it's restored and still in the garage someplace. 1970 Monza. Monza. I don't remember those, but Monza doesn't sound cool to me. I just don't remember the Monza. 1979 Monza. I just can't remember right now. I might have to take a look at that. Make a note to go take a look. It could be a cool looking car. I just don't remember it. It kind of sounds like a foreign car. Falcon was even smaller than the Valiant. Yeah. I think when I was growing up, we had a Valiant. My mom and dad did, but I don't remember it. I also don't remember the Volkswagen we had, the Volkswagen Bug. The Monza was a Chevy. God, I just don't remember it. I'll have to go back and look. There was another car that came late in the 80s. I mean, in the 70s. It was, I think it was Grand National that was a six-bagger, but it was a fast six-bagger. And they were actually pretty cool looking cars and fast. And I think, if I could be wrong, but they might have been one of the fastest cars of those few years there. And I do remember what they looked like, and they were cool looking. Okay, the Monza. Are you saying that the Monza kind of looked like the Buick Skylark, kind of that body shape? I remember the Buick Skylarks, but I just don't remember the Monza. There been just I've never ever been any around here, and I just never noticed them. 78 Roadrunner Aspen. They fit in the same category as the Fox Body Mustangs. Ugly. And I hope I don't hurt anybody's feelings, because I'm not here to hurt anybody's feelings. But I gotta call it like I see it. I just thought they were ugly as shit. It's one of the guys in the Hot Rod Club races his, I guess, 78 Roadrunner, and small and ugly looking. But it makes a good race car. It's lightweight, and he's a Mopar guy, and he knows Mopars upside down and backwards, and he can build them body work and everything. He's one of the best around here. Yeah, the Grand National. I guess I was right. It was called the Grand National. And I haven't seen one on this picture here yet, on all these pictures. But I bet if I kept scrolling, they would be. But I don't really know if I want to sit around here and scroll. We had one of these, but it was the basic, so it didn't have all the fancy stuff, looking. And it was I think it was a '73. That's the Charger, the Dodge Charger I'm showing here. But I did have a lot of fun in it. It handled the road much better than anything else I'd had at the time. Let's see, is there anything else here? Well, we haven't mentioned the Novas. The Novas were pretty cool. The same friend of mine that had the GTO, when he got it out, he got the Nova, and it was pretty cool, but it wasn't anywhere as cool as the GTO. A little dead air here, but I'm just kind of looking through. There was some other things that they're not normally thought of as hot rods, but had options. And I guess you'd kind of call it more of a luxury hot rod. And I'm trying to find some good examples of them. 66 Shelby Cobra, cool. That was a cool car. Even though I'm not a big Mustang fan, they made some cool ones. I'm a big Ford fan. I am a fan of the Mustangs, except for the Fox body. I guess I haven't insulted anybody yet about the Fox body because I haven't seen anybody get on me in the chat, or if they did, I didn't see it. Impala. The 4-door Impalas, but the 2-door were pretty cool. It's just I don't think they would have ever been a car I would have had, but I've seen a few that were cool. Had a 1972 Custom back in '91 when you were 20. I haven't seen 20 in a long, long time. God, I feel old when I talk about the 70s. Because I wasn't a kid anymore in the 70s, late 70s. I graduated in '78, so. Impala. Yeah, Impala could be a business car or a muscle car. There was another one. It seems like they might have all been white, and I just haven't seen them on here. This was a cool car, and I didn't see much of them around back then. Well, I don't think I ever saw one back then, but they were cool, and if I didn't see one in this area, then they weren't real popular, but they were cool. And it may have been because they were too expensive. Just like we didn't have but a few Hemi Cudas in this area, which I was lucky enough to be in them, around them, and own one at one time. Let's see, me neither. PNP 48 now. God, I wish I was still 48. Been a while. Let's see. What was that Hillbilly? I had a Grand in '74. Was it as fast as they say? Are you talking about the Grand National? BNP. You are like my old brother. Gonzo Texas Mopar, 100%. Yeah, I do lean towards the Mopars. I have to admit it, but there's plenty of cool Chevys out there, and Ford made some cool ones too. It's just I just never was big into the Fords. Super B, yeah, the '69 Super B. They were cool. Uh, the guy I was talking about earlier, his name was Ronnie. He had the Roadrunner, and now he's got another one. And then he bought, I think it's the Roadrunner, but a model up, and I just can't think of the name of it right now. But anyway, his son has is into cars now too, and he has, I think it's a '68 or '69 Super B, and both of them are restored cool cars. Ford found on road dead. Yeah. In fact, Tommy, the '63 Corvette Stingray was the one that was I couldn't think of the year, but earlier I was talking about the two fastest cars here. One was a Mustang, and the other was the Corvette, and that's what it was. But he that guy was rich and had a shitload of money. But the Mustang and the Corvette, they were so closely matched. One time one would win, one time the other would win. It just mostly depended on who got the light first, or who didn't smoke the tire. The Buick GS, that was one of the ones I was thinking about. Buick GS. I don't think I've come across one in the pictures here, but yeah, that was one of the ones I thought was cool, and we didn't see many of them, and I think they were like an upper model, you know, kind of fitting that description of businessman car, businessman hot rod. I think you might describe it that, but do not ever believe I'm trying to come off as an expert on these cars, because I am absolutely not. And there's a lot I don't remember, and there's a lot I never knew. I just like them, and they're cool. You know, and something I never checked into, I guess it just was never that important, but it seems to me somebody told me at one time that the first Corvette Stingrays were actually made out of metal. But I don't know if that's true, because I never really messed with them. I think the only one I ever was close to was the one that I talked about just a minute ago. And I never even rode in it. Ford Granada. I don't remember. I remember the name, but I don't remember the look. Well, of course, the Barracuda. I was talking about them earlier. One of my favorites. I showed a picture of a Challenger, which are a lot closer body styles, but the Cuda was like it. And that was my favorite, probably my favorite muscle car of the '70s era. But nothing else even really comes close. It's in my mind. And that's probably because I really like Mopar. But there was a lot of cool cars, and there was a bunch of cool cars back in that day, in those days. That's okay, Bill. I know people come in here late. And no, not a problem. And I know people are going to miss something I said earlier. And well, if y'all say put something down because y'all didn't hear it earlier, that's cool. No problem, man. You might put down something I didn't think about. But I can't believe how, it wasn't that many years ago I was saying that the muscle car era is going to come back. The new technology, I saw the way it was going with injection and so on and so forth. It has. But again, the muscle cars are out of my range. You know, back then the muscle cars that I could afford were from before me 8-10 years, so I could afford to pick one up. These new ones are just, from what I see, they're holding their value to the point where I don't know if I'll ever be able to afford one of them. But I don't really want one of the new ones. I would rather, if I had the money for a new muscle car, I think I would rather take an old one and do a resto mod type deal. You know, restore it, put all new stuff in it. You know, suspension, braking, electronics, put all that kind of stuff in it, put new motor in it from more modern, that's very reliable. Still, I mean, you can get to 500 horsepower nowadays without any problem in it. And let's just take the Dart that I was talking about earlier. I always thought it'd be cool to fix one of those up. Small car, still plenty of room in it for me. You put a new modern era 500 horsepower motor in it, and it's going to be fast and fast enough for me. I don't need to have a 1,000 horsepower car to go cruising around in, because I'm just not into that. I'm probably not going to race, but I may take it on the back streets or take it out to this track and screw around a little bit, you know, but I'm not going to be on the streets racing. And I don't need something that goes 200 miles an hour. I just like to get out and burn the tires off every once in a while and get a little squirrely and have some fun. Yeah, Chargers are cool, but even them, they've got the, you know, a couple of versions that are over 500 horsepower. They're probably, I think they've brought them up to be pretty equivalent to like the Challenger. And for some reason, I can't even freaking think of the name of the package I'm talking about. Right, Hellcat. I think they got a Hellcat package for the Charger. And if I was filthy rich, I'd probably have one, but it would probably sit there most of the time. I probably wouldn't drive it because I don't need that kind of power. But 500 horsepower in a little car to go out and screw around with, hey, that would do me everything I wanted. ...2010 Challenger. Let's see. Dream vehicle, 84 Dodge Ram, 4-door, 318, 4-barrel. I can't say there's anything wrong with that. If you're, you know, I didn't say it had to be a car. Trucks are cool. And that's a really good package, I think. You could have people in it go cruising around in, off road, having fun. The 318 is a good motor and strong enough for a lot of things that you might want to do, and still not sucking the gas too bad. But if you had one of those and have a more modern motor in it, and like my truck, it's got, actually, I've never been into being able to convert the new sizing. You know, I'm like he's talking about 318, 440, 40. That was my thing. But I don't even know what motors are what anymore in comparison. But I think my truck has the 318, but would have been called 318 back then, and it's whatever liter now. But it's a good motor, man. I've had that truck since 2001. And it still looks new when I clean it up, except for a few small blemishes. But if you stand away from it just a little bit, it looks brand new when I clean it up. I've got, plus I don't have a, 3 or 400,000 miles on it either. But it's still been a good truck, and it's a stripped down version. It's a work version because I didn't want all the electronic windows and the electric locks, and I wanted something I could take out, and then if I got dirty, I could just squirt it out with water. I don't even have carpet in it, just matte stuff, whatever they call it. And 4-speed standard transmission. I really like shifting. Automatics are cool, but I just always like shifting. The only time I miss an automatic is when I'm in heavy traffic, and I'm not in heavy traffic that much. That truck's been a great truck. That motor is a great motor, and it's strong for what it is. If I put that truck motor in a small car, it would be pretty fast. Fast enough for what I want. Or it wouldn't be anywhere near fast enough to try to do a bunch of street racing or anything, but I don't, like I said, I'm not going to be street racing. The Pontiac Grand Safari wagon. You know, vaguely, I remember those. 10 miles a gallon. Yeah, I remember that shit. 10 miles a gallon. First owner paid $2,600 and spent $3,000 on change. I made it right. Spent $3,000 to fix it, so I made $4,000. Yeah, you know, a lot of people like the Trans Ams, and after getting through those years of not liking them because of the people, like I mentioned earlier, the people that I knew that had them, that just kind of tarnished them for me, I like them much more now than I did then. You know, I guess people just like that. I guess, you know, we're all humans, so I guess we just like that. But at that time, the only people I knew that had them were jerks. So psychologically, I guess I just imprinted I don't like those cars on it. But I do now. At least a lot more than I used to. The Carolina and Fort Worth, go to bed early. Let's see. I street race all the time, but not while I'm on pop. Yeah, I don't street race anymore. It's been a long time since I have. But I think one of the days before my years are over, I'm gonna have me another hot rod, and I think I'm gonna take my little dart that I always thought would be really cool and make the changes I want, and do a couple little custom things, and put a more modern motor in it, modern transmission, modern suspension, all that kind of stuff, and just have it as my cool car to go play around in. And it'll be something different. But I've got a drawing that a friend did a long time ago, and we made some changes to it that are fairly easy to make, and on the body style. You know, it's little changes here and there, and they're kind of subtle. But when you look at a picture of one against the original against the drawing, it really makes a difference. But drawings don't always mean the end product will look the same. .3.6 liter Chargers. I have no idea what 3.6 liter size is compared to like a 318, 340, whatever. I just never got into the conversion, and then I was away from cars, so it just never settled in. Bill, North Carolina. I will start a 30-day sentence. The jail started July 18th. That sucks. Yeah, I do too. I hope you will too. Bill, get it over with as soon as you can, fast as you can. Sarah T. Oh no, Mr. Bell. Plea agreement made to the non-emergency number. I don't know. The V6 honey truck is. I don't know what that is. Yeah, Bill says, yeah, my drunk ass. God. Yeah, we can do some wrong things when we're drunk. Yeah, the Javelin, that was cool. Cool car. Never rode in one, but they were cool cars. And that's another thing. You know, you can go out and get a car and get it at 1 horsepower, whatever the horsepower rating is, and then put a chip in it and gain, 50, 75, 100 horsepower, whatever they are. I don't, I'm sure there's differences in different cars, different sizes of the motor. You put a different chip in it, and it's all different. But if you could go out and get a 500 horsepower car, put a chip in it and get 100 horsepower, that's a big jump. And it doesn't cost that much, to bolt on an extra 100 horsepower to something, or to take the motor apart and send it to the machine shop and get another couple, 100 horsepower. Probably going to cost more than $400. The $400 computer chip on my RT charger to change it to a scat pack. I'll give you a hint, my truck's got scat pack on it. But I think I'm going to have to take the stickers off because supposedly, from a friend of mine that's a cop, that if my truck is seen in Almost Park or by a cop that is friends with Almost Park, they're going to be looking for it. And the only thing they identified it by was that it's a silver kind of truck it is, and it's got Scat Pack stickers on the back windows, side windows. So I guess I'm going to have to take the stickers off, because then it'll just look like a plain old silver Dodge truck. If I understand that the video from Almost Park, they have that truck in there, but they never got the plate off of it. From one of the live streams or something, it came up. And I think it was when I was standing in the back of it, so they know I belong to that truck. At Carolina and Fort Worth, like 404 horsepower. That's good. That's plenty to go help raise some hell in. As long as you don't go pick on the big boys with the much more high power cars. Let's see here, Bill. Nah, they asked who I was. I said John Wayne. I was thinking about, I have written down a lot of things that have come up in my mind to say when I'm watching the videos, and I said, oh man, this would have been a good line for him. So I keep notes, and one of these days I'm going to put some of those out there, but I'm saving them for me for a while until I get back out there. But I might start sharing them. But my middle name is Kirk, and I might just start, when I get back out, when they ask me a name, I'll say, I may give them a little hard time about giving a name, and then go, well, I'll tell you what, one name is good as another, so you can call me Kirk. And then I might even just leave it at that, but I might go, but leave the captain off, I'm retired. And if they ask me how I got there or where my car is, well, that's not going to work. But if they ask me how I got there, I'll just say, ask Spock or Scotty. They're going to have to explain to you how I got here. I don't know that technical stuff. But it sounded much more funny in my head than I think it did it came out. Let's see, what else is in here? Change this sub just for a second. Can you and Dave post a video on how to mirror and share videos? Yeah, I was thinking about doing that, but I'll give you a little something right now. Go to YouTube and look up how to upload videos from YouTube. And there's a lot of videos that will probably go into a lot more detail than I probably would. It's been a long time since I've done it, and all it was a add-on to my Chrome, and I do it there. But there's several websites that you can get the download software. The downloads from. You can download it to your computer, and you can do the downloads from your computer, or you can download it through their website and get it that way. But just look it up on YouTube. There's a bunch of videos out there, and they probably do a better job than I am. And I'm going to give you guys a little bit of advice, but I am not expert on this, and I don't know of anybody that can tell you exactly what YouTube will let you do and not let you do without giving you some problems. All right. Now, and they may not even give you some problems right away. It may be when you're posting other people's videos. If you don't do it very much and most of your stuff is your content, I don't think they'll give you much of a time. So basically what I'm saying is don't do a lot of it. If you, and don't take this, that this is 100% okay. From what I understand, and what little they will tell me, they don't really want to tell you, yes, you can do exactly this, and yes, you can't do exactly that. What I've got so far, and my best understanding is, if you do what I do and promote other people's channels by downloading their videos and guys, I usually don't put the whole video on. Sometimes I do, but mostly I just put a portion in there, an interesting portion, and say, here's their channel, go to it. But anyway, back to where we go. It seems as though it's like a 60-40 mix. And they don't mean you only take 40% of the video and put it up. They mean 40% of what you have on your video total can be someone else's stuff, and 60%'s got to be yours. All right. That's why you see me go to the part where I talk about them more. And I really don't like to sit there and yak about them, but I have to. And I'm not the biggest talker. I'm not like a radio talk show host that just loves to hear himself talk all the time and can get out there and talk for hours about whatever. I'm not good at that. I don't enjoy it, but I try to be able to promote you guys. I have to do that, and I'm going to do what I can. And that's one reason I don't do as much, but mostly the reason I got a bunch of other stuff going on, and I just got to take care of other stuff. So try to keep that in mind. Don't do too much of it. Don't make your whole channel full of promoting other people. The 60-40 thing I just talked about is not 100%. So be careful with all that. And there's plenty of videos out there that will tell you all kinds of ways to do the downloads. I think there's even some on how to do it on an iPhone or iPad, stuff like that. But find the one that you seem to like the best, to work the best for you. I like the one I just click on my browser and it does it. But that's the best I can tell you right now. I don't really need David to be in there with me because I'm the one that told him how to do it. So if I do a video, it'll be a short video, and it'll probably just be saying a lot of what I just said. Let's see, Ozark Hillbilly. Hell, I don't know how to load a video of mine. Well, the upload and the downloads, there's two different things. You upload your video from your phone or computer to, if you using a phone, you upload your phone to your computer and then upload that to YouTube. You can edit it or not edit it. Uh, you could probably, I don't know if you can do this, but I guess you can download what you've saved on your phone straight to YouTube. I don't know. I'm sure there's a way to do it, but I don't know how. But I take my videos and I upload on my computer. I edit the fluff out and the BS that just doesn't need to be there, and then I upload them. Unless I'm doing a video like I did with David, and we do all that on the computer and on the internet. The communications between us. But that's a lot more difficult to do what I do. I have the paid service for Zoom, which lets us stay on for basically as long as we want, and I can have shitloads of people in there if I want to, talking. And I run that through OBS, and the OBS feeds it all to YouTube. Most of you guys won't even need all that stuff. But for any of y'all that wants to look at OBS, it is a little techy, so it's a little difficult. Once you get it all set up, it's pretty cool. Let's see. Yeah, Jace Ventura. Yeah, the fair use. And what I was describing basically was to keep you in the fair use. But, so be careful about what y'all do. Make sure you understand what you're doing. If you want to promote somebody else's channel and you don't want to be techie about it, and you don't want to have to upload or download, just do a quick video and say, hey, this so-and-so channel, she, whoever, doing pretty cool. Here it is. Go check them out. Make up your own mind. You don't have to do what I do. I just do it because I personally think when somebody comes to my channel, and since I'm I'm not that big channel compared to some of the others, but I got enough people there that if I bring them there and they see something interesting, I feel like that is more likely to get them to go to that channel and check it out if they see something interesting. I think they'll do that quicker than if I just said, hey, here's a channel, pretty cool, go check it out. So let's see what's going on in the chat. We're going to probably stop this here pretty shortly here. See, Chase, I love the trophy truck. I don't know what the trophy truck is, but I haven't kept up with a lot of the stuff that's going on nowadays. Let's see, Sirti, Ozark. You've helped so many YouTubers. One of them can teach you. You deserve that. Yeah. And Ozark, dude, I'll help you. But I'm a little bit limited on time, but I'll find a time to help you out if you really need to. If you don't have somebody else, I'll get you here on. We'll get you hooked up on Zoom and we can talk person to person. Blue Line. Carolina, I'm not that old and I remember AM radio and unleaded gas. Well, I'm not that old and I remember AM radio and leaded gas. God, I'm old. In fact, a lot of cars, back when they started switching over to unleaded, they were selling little bottles of lead right there at the gas station. You could add lead to it because some cars couldn't handle it. They'd ping like terrible. Yeah, always credit the original. And when you can, get permission. I mean, it doesn't hurt to get permission from that channel. That'll save you some headaches. Pretty much the way I do it should help me stay out of trouble. I try to get permission when I can, and I'm trying to be very careful to keep it in a fair use. But like I said, I don't do as much as I did, and part of that is because something. I'm just not going to go into that. We'll move on. Let's see. Ozark Hillbilly. Love this train. Thanks. Gotta go. Not feeling good. Hey, yeah. Go take it easy, Ozark. Get some rest. Let's see here. What else is going on? I don't know what that one is. Ozark Hillbilly, Carolina, 19 cents. Either it's a private joke or I missed something. Maybe he remembers 19 cents for gas. I remember the gas wars. Where they would drive, they had those gas wars and the prices would just go way down. And now that it got organized and they won't have gas wars against each other because they lost too much money on it. Plymouth Scamp, yeah, let's see here. Blue Line. I remember not having to wear a seatbelt, yeah. For some reason I didn't remember flying from the rear seat of my Aunt Scamp, which was basically a dart. Head first into dash. Back in the, when I was a kid, people just didn't think about the seatbelt stuff that big of a deal. For one, a lot of cars still didn't have them. The other is most of them in my earlier life just had the one around your waist, and your head still hit the dashboard, still hit the seat. The steering wheel. But at least for the most part, you didn't go into the windshield. But we would, military family, we traveled a lot, and hell, I crawl up in the back window and sleep. No seatbelt, no nothing. My sister would sleep on the the back seat, and I'd crawl up in the back window and go to sleep. Well, you do that these days, and your parents would end up in jail, and you'd be in no telling where. I don't trust those foster homes too much. And I'm sure those, for the most part, they're probably pretty good. I just heard so many bad stories. Luckily, I'm old enough, I don't have to worry about it. When I was a kid, I took a .22 rifle to primary school. Yeah, hey, when I was in high school, they had an outdoor class. And we would shoot BB guns in the school, in the classroom. And they would teach us safety and how to handle them properly. We drove to school with rifles in our vehicles, hanging up in the back window, sitting on the seat, in the trunk, no big deal. Nobody even thought twice about it. But then again, I used to ride my horse to work too. To school too. Can you imagine in this day and age riding your horse to school? Yeah. Carolina remembers it too, laying in the back window sleeping. Let's see here. My dad had a Plymouth wagon with the rear-facing third seat. I remember that now. See what else is going on here. Plymouth Free. That was a big car. I think, if I remember right, they kind of look like this. I don't know if that's actually a Fury. That was one of the ones I was thinking about right there, the 70 Chrysler Hearst 300. But I think the Fury kind of looked something similar like that. I don't remember for 100%. Oh, well, I'm not going to scroll through and try to find one. There's no telling how long it would take to find one. What's going on here? I took grouse feet feathers to show and tell. All right, guys. I think I'm gonna call it a night. Here's a car we don't see much anymore around the streets. Never did see a whole bunch of them, but there was a few of them hanging around. All right, I'm gonna call it a night, guys. I haven't gone live like this in a long time, and I just felt like visiting with y'all. And I thought, hey, a lot of people like cars. Let's just start off with that and see what happens. So let's see, where did all the gun racks go? Yeah, where did they go? I don't know. I still have a gun rack in my shop out back, but it's sitting in a pile. A little rusty, but it probably won't go in my truck because I'm scared somebody just break in the truck and try to steal it. All right. Thanks everybody for stopping by. Maybe I'll do this again here one of the days soon, and I really appreciate you stopping by and visiting with me. And this is P&P News. I'm out of here. Thanks everybody. Bye.